program, and she did not win. But you know, one of the big things again that the Green Party experiences, which is, you know, some of the issues that you've been talking about as being a part of the Independent Party, is that, you know, how can a third party, you know, get the exposure? How can they get their word out? I mean, raising money is a big deal. Trying to communicate with the citizens, trying to get the media to even recognize you exist.
Well, in the Green Party, they don't have that ballot access anymore either. That hurts them. Because at one time they were on the ballot also, and that's so huge, getting that ballot access.
Right.
That's why I'm wondering what's going to happen with the DFL now, if they're going to pivot. And you know how the Republicans, they were losing a lot of their base, and all of a sudden they create this Tea Party Express. And that's going to be interesting, but that's just another arm of the Republican Party, the way I look at it. So I'm wondering if the DFL is going to, the Democratic Party is going to pivot, and I don't know, will they go farther left, or will they come back towards the center? But I kind of have a feeling, I don't know, you've got more insight with the Democratic Party, but I would think that since this, you know, this last election cycle, that they probably will be looking to redirect or regroup.
Well, you know, some of the conversations that I hear that when I'm talking to folks who are in the DFL party is that a number of them have been a little disappointed that some of the items that they thought were on the president's agenda list somehow or other either got on the back burner or somehow morphed into something else.
Right.
And it wasn't what they thought was on the plate. I think single-payer health care is certainly one of those issues that the health insurance reform that was enacted is not single-payer health care, and of course in the DFL platform is indeed the commitment to have universal single-payer health care. And yet again, you know, when you look at the records, who is really in Minnesota DFL, you know, who's got the opportunity to vote in Washington D.C. on that issue? Do they really vote on that issue? No. Instead, they vote to support the health insurance companies, which, of course, is contrary to what the DFL platform is. And that, I think, is very disappointing to many of them. Also, the issue of remaining at war in Afghanistan and the surrounding countries there, that too.
Well, even the Don't Ask, Don't Tell dragged its feet on that, too. So what happens, what bothers me is if a candidate does accept all those endorsements and monies, like President Obama he courted the far left. So when you do that, you are obligated, I feel, to do what they were pushing you for, what they put you there for.
Or either straightforward, just tell them, you know, I'm the best one for you to back. I don't necessarily support everything you stand for, and I'm not going to be able to say that I'm going to push everything that you are standing for, but I'm the best horse in the race for you to back because I have an understanding of your issues, I agree with you on most of those issues, and I will do the best I can to find a good cohesive solution for you.
Well, if I was a member of the Democratic Party, I would endorse you. Because you know what? I mean, if the candidate is transparent from the beginning, and like you just said, then you're not misleading the voters, and you're telling them exactly what you're going to do. Then you're not obligated. You said it right up front. But when you say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and when you get into Washington, people are going to expect that then.
And
so you can't make promises that you can't fulfill.
Well, in my own personal opinion on this is that if you are promising to special interests what you're going to do for them, you are actually turning your back on all the regular people who are actually doing the voting, who are actually doing the voting, who think that you are going to represent their values and represent them
in that district too. I mean, you know, you're getting a lot of this money we were talking about is coming from out of the state, all over the country, and even now over the world with Citizens United. So you really have to connect with your constituents, and that's what I thought was going to happen in this election. I thought people are going to realize, because at those county fairs stuff, they weren't talking highly about these candidates, but they have bases out there.
They do.
And they can snap their fingers in that base. So, I mean, it's getting difficult if you don't when you get into office, don't fulfill all the promises.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
for the most part, they can get the voters out there, which smaller parties have a difficult part.
That's right. Well, let's see if we've got another commercial. Okay, so let's take a look at one of those commercials that you thought you finally were rid of.
Yeah.
The special interest in Washington and Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. She stood up for BP when no one else would. She has a 100% voting record when it comes to supporting Wall Street. She even stood with the big insurance companies and voted against reform. Michelle Bachmann, not doing for the people of the 6th District, but doing more than her share for the special interests in Washington.
One of the things I would certainly recommend for any of the viewers out there is that if you have an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., go when Congress is in session. Go to some of the hearings and actually watch some of your representatives from Minnesota in action. And then you will have a better vision of exactly kind of how things operate. I mean, I've had the chance of being able to do that, and you will see, you know, they'll be in the hearings and you're expecting that they're going to ask these burning questions because they've got the background to be able to ask these burning questions. I'm just in the audience, and I'm thinking, I could think of the burning questions to ask. You know, I was there during some of the hearings regarding the AIG debacle. Oh. You know, and I'm listening. I'm thinking, I've got questions. Boy, I could cross-examine these people. Ooh, let me at them. And yet we had certainly one of our representatives there from Minnesota just sitting there kind of looking at the PDA or the iPad or whatever it was, trying to figure out what the text messages were, and I thought,
that must have been your representative.
It wasn't.
Oh, really? Because I remember Congresswoman Bachmann hammering Geithner about an issue down there. But the thing is, that, you know, that ad that we just saw when Terrell Clark used that, you know, they didn't put the real word in, but that generated so much. It went viral on the YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. But the most pathetic thing about this whole thing was this fundraising stuff. They, Bachmann's camp, we got Marcus Bachmann, her husband, begging people, we need money. Did you see how low they stooped? They were saying this about about Congresswoman Bachmann. We need money to fight that. They already had 10 million. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then the other ones do it. Then the Democrats do it. Like, they attacked us on this. We need money. It's just like those TV evangelists. Let's reach deep into your pockets. They should both be out there. I think the Democratic Party and the Republican Party should be out there raising money across the country to pay down the deficit, and us citizen advocates should get in there and represent.
Oh, there you go.
Because I hate asking for money. That's the weakest thing I have as being a candidate.
Yeah.
Because when you work alongside your constituents, you know how hard everybody's working, and you know how tough it is for your families.
That's exactly right. Certainly running in a number of campaigns myself, I can tell you that is probably the one thing that a candidate is the best at doing, because trying to expect people in your campaign to do it, it's not the same as the candidate doing it. But it's tough for the candidate because you do know, you know, the situations and the circumstances of all these people.
Yep.
And certainly I think back to, you know, some of the folks that I know that they couldn't afford it.
Yep.
And yet, you know, they sent three $1 bills, you know, and a rosary. You know, I mean, gosh, you know.
That's, I know, but see, you have a conscience. It bothers you, but it's a lot of things. If they had as much passion as they do about fundraising.
Yes.
As a representative, we would all be in a lot better shape.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these fundraising, it's just so, it just drives me nuts.
Exactly.
So
let's see if we have another example of one of these advertisements.
What does Lenny got? Did she got a call?
Okay.
Oh.
So let's take a look.
If there was a Mount Spendmore devoted to big government, we know 3 of the faces. But who would join Obama, Pelosi, and Reid? Our nominee from Minnesota cast the tie-breaking vote for the $435 million tax increase. Voted to keep taxing Social Security benefits. She said she supported the stimulus and the takeover of health care. That's right. The last face, our big government honoree, Terrell Clark.
I actually never saw that one before.
I did.
But that is actually very creative.
I like that one.
Mount Spenmore. That's wonderful.
That is one that I actually did get a kick out of. I mean, coming from when you're a fiscal frugal candidate and you
Yes.
see that, and because I still think in this particular race, the Democrats lost their argument by talking about how much Bachmann was spending because Terrell Clark was the biggest Democratic challenger in the country.
Yeah.
So she could have eliminated that argument by just not getting wrapped up in that spending. You're never going to catch $10 million Bachmann.
Well, there's this, it's like the proliferation and acceleration of the arms race. I
Yeah,
mean, how is it
exactly.
really any different? We've got these bombs, so I got to get bigger bombs.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get bigger bombs than you, and I'm going to get bigger bombs than you.
And we all sit there and just say, and I thought that message was good. I thought that was going to work more in my favor, how the people were just going to be like, enough.
Right.
But that message, they're waiting for
They're waiting for more of those Mount Spenmore
that one actually,
advertisements to see where's the next
that was pretty
catchy
good.
one.
I have to admit that one was pretty good.
Now, for our viewers out there, some of you may from time to time see one of the program hosts and producers on this program, Bob Auden. And of course, he was running for mayor in Columbia Heights. Now, he didn't win, but he did rather well. I
really?
think first time that he's run for mayor. And he was running against a fellow who's been in the local municipal government there since, I don't know, eons. I don't even know how long,
Yeah.
but a very long time, a fixture of the community. But Bob Auden, he got 42%.
Wow.
And that, of course, was with 7 of 8 precincts. So,
That's
yay,
pretty accurate.
yay Bob. And,
He's got a show here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't have me on. I tried to get on that show.
Yeah, and he, but he again is another candidate just like you who speaks from his heart, who just says it as it is, and there's not a little script about what you're supposed to say and what you're not supposed to say. So I think he did really well for the first time running for mayor of Columbia Heights. I mean, that's kind of a tough track out there. But,
yeah, that's
great.
it. That's if he got that much percentage, that's pretty good.
That's really good.
Really good.
And so that's really I think.
For an office?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have quite a number of folks in Maplewood who are encouraging me to run for mayor again. But I think that, I got my feet wet in running for Congress in the primary this year. And, of course, it's only 2 years away. The next congressional election and primary, so 2 years, it'll go by in a blink.
Yep.
And I suspect that you'll see me in the primary.
Atta girl. Well, once it's in your blood, I'll be involved in politics, maybe not as a candidate next time, but working to get. I just don't know. I think they say that we have 2 main parties. I look at it as one party.
Right.
To me, it's like a big Christmas tree. They each have their own ornaments.
Right.
And once they get to Washington, they're representing the powers of the party and the big special interests. So I think the second party is these independents. If we could get the Greens and the Independents and a lot of this Constitution Party, there's some solid smaller parties out there too. But.
Right. Well, and I think your point is well taken, and I agree with you. The ones that are in office, they're members of the incumbent party.
Yeah, exactly.
And all the rest of us, we're members of the non-incumbent party. And there's always that tug of war between the incumbents and the non-incumbents.
Well, good luck to you because I think you've got passion, you got the smarts, you got the experience.
Right.
You've been in office, you've been in the private sector. You put those two together and
well, and one of the things though that for me that really makes it very rewarding is actually speaking with people from all walks of life, talking to them and listening to what they have to say, because it's amazing. Many of the solutions that I have come up with as mayor, or even when I'm thinking about public policy issues, are actually ideas that started with some citizen that I was talking to, and sometimes it's a citizen where they have been trying to get their message across to somebody or some politician or somebody's